Hi everyone, and welcome back to Quest for You, episode 64. I'm onto something this week. It seems to be all about your next step, your tomorrow, your next small action that you're going to take. That seems to be the theme this week. It's somehow unfolding as I plan and record these episodes. I hope you enjoy them, because really, it's all about this next action that we take. The future is not known to us. We don't know what will happen. We can make great plans and hopefully they all come true. But the closest thing to the future is the next step. And this is something I want to go into more detail in this episode. The next thing. Do you ever take time to contemplate your next action? Your next response, or your reaction to something? Hardly, I would guess. Only when the situation is challenging, maybe precarious, do we think about the next step with more care. On a test, we think about the answers, sometimes too much. In an argument with our spouse or a friend, we think about our words. When we're being watched, we carefully execute our task and actions. But what about when we are on our own, going about our day, living in our head, thinking about the past or the future or just anything, and suddenly something catches our attention, something unplanned, unexpected, that someone says or does? How we respond in that particular moment could be of critical importance. Too often, we react out of default, on autopilot, meaning we don't think about it. With the suddenness the issue occurred, we feel we have to respond just as quickly. And when we do, it's often not our best response. We all have these default behaviors. It's what we think, feel, say, and do in critical moments. But sometimes we are not even aware of them. And how we handle these automatic reflexes can be the difference between success and failure. Default reactions can be dangerous and lead to unproductive behaviors and outcomes. So today, I encourage you to bring more awareness into your day. Monitor yourself closer. How do you react when someone cuts in front of you on the road, in the line at the store, at the espresso machine at work? Think about your very next action, your next words, the next thing that you do, and ask yourself, is it the right thing? Deep down, you know what is the right thing. It's the action or word that is kind, peaceful, and non-judging. But in the heat of the moment, we are often just driven by our impulses. Thinking, saying, or doing always the right thing is a high standard, I realize that. But the more you become aware of your default reactions, the better you can control your next step. So awareness is really the first step on the road to change. It always is. Become aware of the situations that tend to set you off. Maybe certain people or a specific approach from people. These are also called your heart buttons. I'm sure you've heard this before. Things that set you off in a negative way. Awareness also includes knowing how your level of self-control varies throughout the day. Under stress, without much sleep, when you're hungry, etc. When I get overwhelmed at work, with task after task piling up on my to-do list, I can get frustrated and sometimes snappy with people. So know what your defaults are. Impatience maybe, like in my case, and interrupting people, becoming aggressive or maybe passive, getting loud, even angry, or jumping too quickly to negative judgments of others. Consciously acknowledge what it is that you do, feel, or think. Ignoring has worked until now, but now, since you started this quest for your journey, for your improvement, it's time to become more aware. Don't think you need to overanalyze why these behaviors and thoughts show up. That's not the focus. They are there, we have to deal with it. So how we deal with it is, let's try to minimize them from coming up. And the first step is to be very clear about what they are. And then Next is to plan an alternate reaction. Thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that replace the old. I know that sounds difficult, but it really is not so hard. I'm sure you have observed and admired people that can remain calm and clear-headed in the face of chaos. I have. Always wanted to be that way. Well, we can. It takes a little bit of work and effort. With awareness, you're already one step closer to gaining more control over yourself. Think about how you would rather react. What skills do you admire in others? Is it control, the calm and the collective? Or maybe, if you're shy and quiet, you want to be more expressive. Maybe it's a certain level of humor that you currently don't have, or a candidness and honesty. Spend some time defining what it is that you like, how you would like to be. I do this by observing others. When you're in meetings and bad news is communicated, watch the people and their reactions. When you're on a plane that won't take off due to delays, observe what people shout out and how they handle the negative views. I've been one of those people. When you really want to get home after a long week, the last thing you need is a malfunctioning plane. But we all know our reaction doesn't change the situation. So find the right thought, the right behavior. I often find that if I focus less on myself and on the other person, on what they may need from me, my response is usually much kinder. Look to see what works for you. For some people, it's best to learn not to speak immediately, or not to jump to judgments about the other person, whatever it may be for you. And then, mentally rehearse that behavior. Really practice it. Use less severe situations. Maybe someone stopping by your office with a request. Are you kind, and can you be the person you really want to be all the time? Once the unplanned situation occurs, you'll have a better chance of overriding your automatic reflexes. Maybe not right away, but even if you forget, I bet you will at least remember what you should have done. That is already a step better from not being aware of your default reaction. Keep rehearsing, and eventually you'll be able to carry out your plan. And the third step is, well, not as glamorous, but it's more planning. Plan beyond just your trigger situations. Plan for every next thing to be the right thing, the right response, the right reaction. Positive, affirmative, kind, and generous. Not snarky comments, half-baked criticisms, or poor me-inducing pity parties. Pick character traits that you feel represent right for you and right for others. As someone who never used to smile, I try to make my smile the next thing. I catch myself often very serious. It's a default reaction for me. But I make a genuine effort to try to exchange it with a smile. Plan your days better. Know the things that trigger you and work around it. If heavy traffic gets you to the office already stressed, find workarounds. Leave earlier or listen to something relaxing on your way to work. Try to set up your environment in such a way that allows for better responses. That's what more planning means. Plan to avoid, plan to work around, and plan and practice better responses. And for everything else unplanned, unscheduled, and unforeseen, try to do the right thing. I'm leaving you with a quote today that serves as a nice reminder to something very basic we often forget, since we are always so caught up with ourselves. It's by Shannon Alder. Most misunderstandings in the world could be avoided if people would simply take the time to ask, what else could this mean? If you really don't know how to react, if you really don't know what to say or think, ask. Ask a simple question. Go for clarity before you judge, before you react, before you jump to conclusions. The next thing. What is your next thing that you will do or say? Think about it as you go through the day today. With much love, Until next time.